Hey, everybody, this is the Drop the Beat podcast. My name is Charles Laurita.
And I'm Will Sarver.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to us beat off. It's fantastic. We are still on quarantine in this edition of the podcast. Will, how are you holding up over there? Because we are like way isolated. Like I haven't seen anybody in like weeks.
No, well, update on me is I haven't showered in days. I forgot to put on deodorant. Not even sure if I brushed my teeth today. I mean, should I continue, or does that paint a nice picture for you?
I mean, I can see you physically on my tablet. I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
And you can see me with my unruly homeless person facial hair. It's very coarse, and my face itches. I haven't done my hair in quite some time. I've got about 3 days out of this shirt. It's awesome. I have Ninja Turtle pajama pants on right now and slippers. We're just living.
I'm glad you're wearing pants because I didn't think so for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll never know. Maybe if I have to stand up, you might get a very small free show. So what have you?
It's free.
I was gonna say, what have you been doing with all this time with yourself?
Honestly, I'm taking advantage and just sitting here. Beating off. It's pretty much...
Yeah, I'm beating off with you, actually. That's pretty funny you say
mean,
that. We're beating off together, and people like to listen to that, I think.
Exactly. That's what we do here.
I love it, though. But, hey, we have a question.
We do?
That someone sent us in. And did you know how people can actually write questions into us to answer?
I have no idea. Do you know?
I do, actually. Will, you could go to www.charleslaurita.com/contact, and it'll take you. Yeah, I know. It's bananas. The internet is just incredible. And you can go, and there's a box you can fill out with your name, where you're from, and, your question for us to answer in a long form kind of thing. It's amazing. And now, with over 500 free hours of America Online, you can access the internet any way you'd like. So
that's incredible.
Completely crazy. Why I just thought of that is because I not too long ago bought an NSYNC album that I only had on cassette whilst growing up, and it had inside of it a free America Online free 500-hour thing.
I remember that,
and I was like, I could cash this in. This is like gold. But we do, in fact, have a question for this installment of the Drop the Beat podcast.
Awesome.
This question comes from Marcus G. from Maryland. Hi, Marcus. Hope you're listening to this one.
Marcus.
What up? Maryland is awesome. Maryland actually has a really, really cool music scene.
I love Maryland.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more hip and proper to Ocean City because I'm very, very touristy and I like the boardwalk. But, that's just me. But anyway, Marcus, hope we're not... He's probably like, oh, my God, these tourists.
Yeah, of course it's Ocean City.
Sorry. But anyway, Marcus writes in, and he says... I play out in the bar scene, and I've been questioning playing in my original band due to our lack of success. So he is in the Maryland bar scene. There you go.
All right.
Personally, do you feel it's better to play in a cover band or an original band? Well, Marcus, that's a heavy hitter there, dude.
Marcus, I can't believe you're doing this to us, man.
Doing us dirty, man. Oh, God. Just when we think we're going to...
That's a great question.
That is an awesome question.
That's really important.
Marcus, I'm going to level with you right now. I'm going to be frank.
We live in it.
I would say I'm going to be frank with you, and then I'm going to be Charles with you. Dude,
I like Frank a lot better.
Yeah, he's more fun. That's a great little conundrum that he's in because he's playing out in an original band. And granted, Maryland, a lot of town. He didn't specify where in Maryland, but there's a lot of cool places to play. A lot of places, not just cover bar band places, but a lot of original places too. And first off, Marcus, I'm sorry that you feel that way about your lack of success. I mean, we could always get into defining what successful is, and that's a whole philosophical thing for another time.
Get down that rabbit hole.
But man, Will, if I didn't feel this way literally all the time, where it's wanting to give up and we say it all the time, we could just secede, and we could just go right into being a cover bar band kind of thing. But what would we can always. I would say we kind of differentiate between the two. If you had to get into some of the differences between the cover bands and the original bands, where would you start with that? What's like the big hit it right on the head?
The difference between the two?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's an obvious difference, but
Yeah. Well, I've done both.
I think we both
And
have actually.
yes, and I know that you have too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we definitely could answer this. Wow, I mean,
I know this kind of was a side swipe, Marcus. Christ.
yeah, it's too real, Marcus. That's the problem. I'm always going to want to push for original music. I think it's important.
I agree.
It's how we're gonna be able to progress musically and as a generation and all that. If we just keep covering everything, it's just we're never gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing I've always noticed. We in our area specifically, my area being a little different than yours, William, is we have a lot of cover bands here because that's mainly the scene. Original bands don't do as well around here because people want to go out and see things, or listen to bands with music they know, and they can relate with. 'Cause so many people are so horrified to listen to a song they have no idea what it is.
Step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of bands in not just our area but everywhere where it's like you have 10 bands made of the same 6 people, and they all play the same. They all play the same songs and that kind of a thing. And I thought it was just around where I am, but it's everywhere else. Like that's a that's a thing. Like I had no idea. Where it's like bands around here do Pride and Joy. You drive out to Maryland, they're going to be doing the same damn song or
Yeah.
whichever, or like Brown Eyed Girl or one of those guys. Which they're great songs, but I've heard them 1,000 times, and it just kind of gets to me. And I know we have this issue a lot with people requesting songs for us to play because we have a horn section.
Oh yeah, just because they see that. I mean, it's you're an open book now, and that's especially frustrating because I know you take a lot of time and effort, and you write this stuff and put blood, sweat, and tears in it, and then we practice and we rehearse and we go out and we play these shows, and then someone's screaming at us to play Freebird,
Yeah.
or
Or the
Sweet
one we
Home
would
Alabama, or
We would always get
whatever.
the one because we had horns. We'd always get the one guy get one of us to play Buffalo Soldier, and he would just act like he would beat us so
You know
many
the
gigs.
one.
He'd be like, "Come on, man, Buffalo," and he'd have to sing it as if I didn't know it, and be, "Come on, your guys all know it," and I'm like, "Please, please don't breathe on me."
Right.
And at that point, it's a lot of people. They just want to see how closely you can sound like the original. And the thing is, it's like,
Yeah, you're never
go
gonna
home
be like the original. Put on
yeah,
the
go
record.
home and go listen to the record. I mean, but then you also have a lot of those groups where it's like the Zeppelin tribute bands and those where they sound identical
Oh yeah.
to the real acts, and they are very impressive. But at the same time, I don't know the names of any of the guys playing in those bands, and that's kind of it's kind of sad at that point because it's great. Obviously,
That's all it'll be.
Yeah.
You
I
kind of
almost-
just will always be at that level.
Yeah, and I mean it's a
And-
shame because it takes skill to do, but at the same time, I personally would more so see people write something new.
Yeah,
and create.
express themselves and create. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's incredibly important, especially because you get to a point, and one of our friends had pointed out, a lot of people who do a lot of cover band things, they act like they wrote the stuff,
That's yeah.
and that's a little forward in that kind of regard. I mean, yeah, it's great you can play a song, note for note and this and that, but I always look personally, there's a very big difference between covering a song and imitating a song. And that's like when we cover stuff, we do it in our version or our own style, which you could, easily see on YouTube if you wanted to check us out, anybody listening.
Yeah, go on our website and check us out.
I would personally. But it's one of those kind of things where it's like I more so like the cover aspect, not the imitation kind of thing. Because I think it's just a different way. It's you doing a version of a song, with that kind of thing, and that kind of almost makes it your original. in that regard, which is cool. And I think for me, when I was doing my cover band, I had a trio for years, and then it became a quattro. Before the Mischief, that's kind of how I started getting my following. I did songs in my style, and people loved them or they hated them. And there was no in between. There was never like, oh, I kind of like this one. No, it was either you don't sound like the Beatles, and it's like, I'm not the Beatles. I'm collectively not any of those Beatles. I'm
Yeah,
not Paul
you're not
McCartney
one.
from Wings. Like,
You're not even Wings.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't even have any wings, man. And that was tough. And then even worse from that was, then branching into the Mischief, doing the original thing. And now you have everyone who followed the band basically just being like, yeah, we don't like these songs you're writing. We don't like this at all. Go back to doing the cover thing. People are going to like you more. And that's probably the worst thing you could say to anyone. It's not.
Yeah.
There's far worse things you could say to anyone, but that's the
Yeah,
worst thing you
that's
could say
pretty
to
bad.
someone playing in a band who's writing their own material. Because our whole fan base flipped and changed and switched, and it was completely different because the people didn't want to hear that. They wanted to hear the same songs they'd been hearing for the past 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And you've played in a cover band too. What have your experiences kind of been with that? Because then we're going to have to flip the coin and kind of be like, let's talk about the original experiences and how much different that is.
I mean, with the cover band, there were times where it was fun. There it can be fun to do.
But was it fulfilling and gratifying?
No, and that's why I don't do it anymore.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, it's you play the first show, second show, and the buzz is still there, and you're like, cool, but like then you start playing it a third, a fourth, a fifth, 10th time, 20th time, and you're just like, it's the same thing. It kind of loses its mojo, and then it becomes, now you're just doing it for the money, because typically the cover scene, it pays, and it pays decently compared to the original scene, which it's barely anything.
Well, I was going to ask, I was going to say, have you ever gotten any really, really good cover gigs?
Oh, 100%. I mean,
oh, God, yeah.
I remember coming back, with the band and, having a pile of money on the table because, you're just paying, playing for, a bunch of wealthy individuals, and everybody starts having a few drinks, and the party, they don't want the party to stop, so they throw you some more money, and next thing you know is you got a bunch of money at the end of the night. And so then it gets you hooked for the next time you do it, but then you may not have the same outcome.
Yeah.
And
you get gigs and money.
You get gigs and money, and then you're in that, then you get to that like level of, man, I really don't want to do it anymore, but like I am getting paid, and I'm getting paid pretty well. But for me, it was just never satisfying or fulfilling. I didn't get anything out of it. I mean, yes, I was playing, so like it was keeping my chops up, but I missed doing, original stuff, because that had a purpose, that had feeling, that had soul. It was
you could
creative.
put you into it. You
Exactly.
could put your flavor into it, and that's so important.
Right. The cover thing is like, I'm trying to play it as close as possible to the original. I mean, it's never 100%, and I'm not going to learn it 100%, but I can't veer off the path too much, because then it won't start to sound like that song, and then you will have people be like, that's not how it sounds.
Oh yeah.
And,
boy, my favorite.
there shouldn't be
You're not
cowbell
Jimi
on there.
Hendrix. Oh really?
Yeah, and so you can't have, there's not a lot of like artistic freedom and liberty and creativity and fun with it anymore. It's just so
not at all.
cookie cutter and monotone, and that's
Monotonous.
it's very monotonous, and that's why I had to get away from it. And the original, as much as a struggle as it is, and we will talk about that.
Oh, Marcus. Oh boy.
At the end of the day, I have a sense of purpose, it feels great to play those songs. I'm not just saying that so you can pay me more at the end of the day, but
Yeah, I don't have any money to pay you because we're an original band.
yeah.
So, but that's the
I'm
best
just trying
part.
to keep my job.
I mean, that's my favorite with writing, the songs that we do is I have my drum ideas and I'll play you a bad version of it and then I'll be like, play it like you, do it like you, and you get to make your parts to it. And I think that's the best, the coolest thing. 'Cause
That's
the drums are
important.
well, the drums are the most up in the air kind of thing because, the horn parts are written as they are. And obviously we're always asking everybody, what do you think of this part? What do you think of that part? Anything we say. And sometimes people have cool ideas with it, but, and same with, with bass, I'll have a main idea and, but your part's obviously really, really important. And, you get to put a whole lot of you into that. And that means
I think that's
a
why
lot.
I like it so much because you give me the opportunity to put my spin on it. I mean, not everybody's going to do that. Some people are very particular about their original stuff, and they have a part.
Oh,
in
I've
mind,
played with people who are, yeah. It's
and
not
this
great.
is what it's going to be. But you are the opposite of that. You have an idea in mind, and I know you enough, and I've been playing a long time that I can take whatever you play me or let me listen to.
You know where I'm
I-
going with it. We
I
can
know
read
where
each
you're
other.
going
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Exactly. And then I can just kind of make it my own. But it is tough. It's a lot of pressure. It's your song. It's your baby. And I try and do my best and give it
They're more so
justice by
my
the-
they're more so my adopted children. They're not that close to me. I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, they are my
Yeah,
children.
you can get rid of them
regardless.
at any time.
Oh, but yeah, but I mean, as far as it goes with covers and original stuff, like I used to, and to this day with us playing, we never announce we're an original band. We just play. And
People
even
will
when I
walk
was
away.
even when I was doing because people prejudge it. They're like literally they'll be like, "Hi, I have some songs I wrote," and I'm just envisioning, oh, here's a girl with her acoustic guitar in a coffee shop, and she's gonna open her diary, and it's the same 4 chords. Ugh. And everyone thinks that. Like, you can't get away from that. But the thing is, those covers everyone's playing, those were someone's originals. That's what no one
That's a
gets.
really good point. Yep.
Like when we used to do the gigs that we used to have, the cover gigs, people just wanted all cover stuff. And I would sneak in, at the time, my own originals. No one knew that they were originals, 'cause I never announced them. We just played them, people danced, they loved them. We had, so, you talking about gigs, we had this one gig one time. We were a trio and just became a quattro. We added Mr. Chandler Scales on the sax. So it was just guitar, bass, drums, and tenor sax, and I was singing. And we got this gig in Toms River in New Jersey, which is very close to like the shore, like Point Pleasant kind of area. It is this area we played was very wealthy. Like, we were in this cul-de-sac, and there was a house behind a gated fence. It looked like the X-Men mansion, and the house we played at was just this big, old, beautiful looking, almost like a Cape May style kind of like.
Oh, nice. The
Really old.
Victorian looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were super, super sweet, and it was a private party. I don't even know what it wasn't. Didn't even have a reason. He's just like, I feel like I throwing a private party, and the guy did everything we wanted us to do. We had a nice patio spot. We had a big tent. We had electric. Everything we requested. We got paid ungodly well. Like, we each walked away with, I think, over $1,000 for this gig. Sound guy as well, being my father. They tipped us like $1,000 for this thing. Like, it was nuts. The dude was like, "Yeah, go explore the house." So of course I have to. I went in every bathroom to pee, and he had 4 bathrooms, and your bathroom is just baller as shit when the toilet and sink are black. Like, that's a big deal.
Oh,
Like,
that is nice.
we don't have that in our little trailers that we live in.
You're lucky to have a beige off-white.
Dude, it was like this carpeted hallway mansion, banister-looking Munster house thing. It was awesome. And like, the one bathroom had a bathtub with the lion feet on the bottom, like the big deep tub. Like, it was just like, it was crazy. And at the end of the night, like, we played, everyone was dancing, everyone loved it. Everyone was so appreciative. And at the end of the night, the guy was just like, take any booze you want home, take any food, take any snacks. You guys were great. Here's a big tip. And I don't drink, but I'll be damned if I didn't take like 5 boxes of giant expensive cookies home because he said we could. And I
Smart
took like
move.
these. Yeah, well, it is what it
Yeah.
is. We're all smuggling shit out. But it was crazy though because of the atmosphere, the attitude, and what we got paid for a cover gig. That was the craziest thing.
That's wild.
Because I had the bar. This was right before the Mischief started. And for us to get a gig like that, where we're getting like almost $1,000 a person, I was like, oh my God, the original band's going to be great. Little did I know, it's not as widely accepted as I thought. And there's kind of like circles where it is. And the gigs are very, very different. I mean, you and I have done hundreds of these, at this point. What are your thoughts on it? Like, why is there such this weird divide?
I think it's fear-based.
Like spooky ghosts and spiders?
Exactly. Yeah.
God, that is horrifying.
I think, yeah.
Sorry, I'm keeping it together.
It's I think people are afraid to step out of their comfort zone.
You mean the audience, like listening wise?
Yes, listening wise, yeah. I think humans alone are very accustomed to comfort, and it's difficult for us to get out of our shell and veer off the path a little bit. And that comes with that, people listening to music and, like you were explaining the person in acoustic guitar in the coffee shop, reading their diary or singing something very depressing. People are already judging or
of course
before you even get up there. So I think as far as like the finances of it, I think because of that, venues and individuals are not going to pay you because they're unsure of what the outcome is going to be.
That's so it's not only, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's not just the audience, but it is the venue owners and things who are kind of very unsure because they know there's a specific crowd for it, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, you just, if they can, they feel more comfortable investing their money in you, knowing that you're going to play, a complete set of Leonard Skinner, because they know they're going to get a good crowd response.
That's incredibly true.
And it's going to bring people in the door, and people are going to buy food and they're going to buy drinks. Now, if you told them you're an original group, and chances are they probably didn't listen to your music, because it still baffles me that some people don't listen to bands' music and they still hire them.
Oh boy, we've been on the end of that.
Yeah, exactly. So
not us specifically, but
right. So they'll be like, how about $100 for the night for the band? Or we'll give you 10% of what we make at the bar.
My favorite is always it's you have to get 10 people come in the door, and then you get paid 50% of whatever you get after that.
Some ridiculous math equation.
You don't make anything, and that's why Marcus's point. I understand him being discouraged. Like, that's incredibly, fair.
Oh my God,
the way he
sucks,
feels.
To be honest, yeah.
That was like, so you saying about not listening to bands and wanting all the Leonard Skinner or the whatever cover stuff. We, me and Chandler and our trumpet player Sean, we went one time in your neck of the woods. We were in like Langhorne, Levittown, going shopping around to a couple different venues trying to get gigs, like physically driving there and speaking with people and bringing our disc. And we literally brought it to one place, handed it to the boss, the guy who hired the music. He looked at it, put it on the table, and was like, yeah, that's great. So you guys do like Brown Eyed Girl and Margaritaville and shit like that? And we were just like, dude.
Exactly. Yep.
And from a business point, I get it, because every band does that. Everyone wants to hear it. He wants consistency. Yeah. But from like but then you have the musical artistry point where it's like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to sell our kind of souls doing stuff. We're not, get a jukebox. Jukebox pay you. You don't have to pay the band. Like, so it's disheartening where it's like, you just spend all this time writing stuff and working as hard as you can, and give me a Brown Eyed Girl, give me a Margaritaville.
Yeah, and the original stuff, I think, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's a lot more work than doing
Oh,
a cover
yeah. Well, we don't-
doing a
we-
cover gig.
We don't have anything to base it on.
So think about it. You're putting in the most time, the most effort. You're making a huge investment, and you're getting pretty much little to zero return.
Yeah. So I was going to say, for anyone listening, if anyone even plays in any original scenes, so like a good example for us is we play, a lot of cities, a lot of towns have them. We've played everywhere. We're right kind of in this armpit of central New Jersey, the Jersey Shore. We've got Philadelphia, New York. We're right around all those in that little armpit or crotch, if you will.
Crotch.
Where water is water, and you have central New Jersey does
Where
exist.
the beer flows like wine.
Yes. We will have original gigs. They'll go like this. You show up. You have to show up usually an hour before your set. You're on a set with 5 other bands, or you're on a bill with 5 other bands. Your set is like, 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah, 45 tops if you're lucky.
And then it's based on how many people come in the door for you. They say who they're there to see, and then you make money based off of that. And if you walk home with $100, that's amazing, because a lot of those places, they don't let you play if you don't bring out people. But the problem is it's too far away to bring people, so you need to play in the area to get a crowd, but you can't even play in the area to get a crowd because you have to bring people. So it's like this vicious cycle of just horse shit.
Yes.
I can recall someone we talked to not too recently in the area near us, in Asbury Park, and he was like, how's your crowd on the weekends? And we're like, well, you're a little farther away from us, but we can hold a crowd, and we can bring some of our own crowd out. And it's it's not like you're asking the chefs to bring people out to the restaurant either. It's we're here to perform. I think of that all the time. And he would be like, he said, well, we're going to have you come in on a Thursday, and you're going to play for free because we want to judge how many people you're going to bring out for Saturday.
Oh,
and
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
God damn. Like, that is the worst thing you could ever do. It's just like and I understand it though, because there are a lot of original groups who don't promote themselves. They don't do the legwork. They just expect they're going to play and just be gospel, and everyone's going to just flock. And I get both sides of it. But it's crazy because it's like, I love some of the original places we play, because they are like small hole in the walls, but they're all run by really good people, really sweet
Yeah, the people are good.
But sometimes you do have the small hole in the walls, and the people are terrible. Like, we had to bail out of a gig because we had a bassist quit last minute. And the guy was like, you can't. I was like, we physically can't play. We do not have a bassist. And he was like, you can't leave this gig. You can't leave me here. I have to pay my bills. And I'm like, dude, I have to pay my bills too, and you don't pay us shit. Like,
Yeah, you're not paying us anything.
you're not. You're bare. I was like, and I flat out told him, I was like, don't tell me about paying bills. It's like, what are we driving an hour and a half to come to your place, and then we have to pay for play for $30? Like, dude, get over
That's
yourself.
not my problem.
No.
Stuff like that, and like the guy before, like that's also like true sign of a place that's struggling. They're having trouble bringing people in general, and they're just using you as a tool to get more people in, or an excuse of why they can't have people in, or why they can't pay their bills.
That is.
Yeah, and they put the blame on you. It's like there's a reason you don't have people in here all the time, and it's not just because of the bands that you're bringing in.
And I mean, they're always just trying to kind of cover themselves. Granted, we've played original places where they are the best people, and we love going there. And even if we don't get paid a lot, it's always a good crowd and a good atmosphere, and that makes the difference. That's the thing. I'm not
good crowd is
ever
everything.
I'm never trying to shit on any places like that, because we always try to not prejudge the place when we get there. Because if it's a great crowd and the people are good and they're welcoming and the owners are good, like, that's a great thing. But when you walk in and you've played a place X amount of times, and the guy still has no idea who you are, and he, complains, I've spent forever putting this set together with you and these other bands. It's like, no one sounds the same. You've never heard our music. And it's just like, there's just a lack of care.
Yeah.
The one we always have the problem with is there's always still the pay-to-play places where they give you tickets to sell.
Oh, yeah.
That is my least favorite, because it's literally, you're just taking this money so you can pay your bigger acts, and they always promise you bigger and better things, and then you don't ever get those bigger and better things.
Such a terrible way to run things.
Yeah, I was going to say, anybody listening, if you've ever had to go into a cocaine office, if anyone can imagine what that looks like, where it looks like
white.
it's a little narrow, crappy office with just drug paraphernalia, and you have to hand cash because they only accept cash, and they don't ever want to give you you're not allowed to give pay in checks, and it's just like, whoa, so you're not keeping track of your taxes or filing any of this. It's just it's a shame there's such a crazy divide between the two bands, where it's like the cover group band who are playing other people's music for whether it be weddings or parties or big clubs, getting nice places, phenomenal pay, gigs out the ass, or in the ass. I don't know which way the gigs are coming.
Make a great living doing that. Don't get me wrong.
And the original bands, you kind of get tossed around every single way, and it is a shame. People always want to take advantage of you. Like, one of my favorite stories is my uncle, who plays bass. He played in a band in the 70s, and he told me in one of the malls near us there used to be a bar and restaurant, and they would load in on Thursday evening. They'd load in. They would play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They were booked all 3 days. This is in the 70s. Him being the bassist, he himself made $100 a night. So he had a $300 weekend in the 70s. Now, granted, they were like a disco band, which is obviously great, but we can't even get $300 collectively for a lot of gigs. And some people are always thinking, like, I got the easiest job in the world playing. And that's why it's you and me on the side are working our asses off, either teaching or doing whatever labor jobs. Because
side hustles, yeah.
Yeah, you don't, a lot of times in music, and that's the whole thing. It's we're not in it for the money.
No.
You're really, you can't be. You can do a cover band. That's fine. That's great. But
yeah, you can make the money doing it, yeah.
It is a different thing. And I think for me, the big separation was, and like you said, and how you put it was great, I got no fulfillment from it. I got no happiness from it.
Yeah.
I love arranging other people's stuff because that's one of the big things we're known for, and do it in our style. But you just kind of get to that point where people are like, that's all they wanted to hear, and I want to play my stuff. And you get into that artsy fartsy expression thing, because it's like, look, I don't know how to say what I'm feeling, so I have to say it in song. Like, it's that. And for me, that meant a lot. And it's just, but it's such a more difficult road. It's this crazy, cobblestone road now, as opposed to nicely paved. Honestly,
it is a roller coaster ride. That is for sure.
Wait. I just said it was a road, and now it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Roller coasters are very smooth, Will.
Wooden roller coaster.
Okay, that's a little better. You get jostled around, your nads get all smacked up and down. Okay,
exactly.
That's different. Understandable.
Yeah. Or maybe more so like a roller coaster at like a state fair.
Oh, yeah. See, when I think of state fairs, though, I think of those really giant plastic slides you sit on the potato sack with. And there's always that one big like hill in it where you go up and you smack your tailbone. I think that accurately kind of describes it.
Yeah, or what are those terrifying cage, when you're in a cage and it just flips you upside down?
Is that the zipper?
I don't know. It's you're flying around upside down. You're in this
like
metal...
the ovular one, like they're ovular, and then So, oh my God. So if we're talking crazy zipper stories, we have to kind of go off the path. I went to a carnival near me when I was in high school, and there was a girl that I really liked, and we went on the zipper together. And this was when I had my old Nokia cell phone.
Oh,
the big monster brick, and it was. And yeah, you're in a cage, and it's small cage.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You can't. Nothing can like fall out.
Trap.
It's horrifying. It was creaky,
and it was built in an hour.
Yeah, probably. It's not like into the ground. There's no supports. There's no foundation. But anyway, we're in this ride with the girl that I liked, and I'm going around, and my big Nokia phone comes out of my pocket, and this thing was an indestructible tank, and it is flying around this cage, and we were like ducking and trying to like cover our heads, and the back cover falls off, the battery comes out. Now there's like all these pieces of shit just flying around. We are like screaming because we can't move because there's this little cage. We're getting like hit in the face with this foam
shrapnel.
I get all the pieces. I put it back together. Phone works no problem. Needless to say, I think that was like our only little like carnival date. So that the phone.
That's a great ride.
So
story.
that would be more so my analogy for the original band thing. It's the zipper with your Nokia phone that falls out of your pocket next to the girl you like, and there's just shit flying around hitting you in the face.
Exactly. It's you
can quote me on that. I'd like that on my tombstone.
Yeah,
honestly,
all of that,
the whole thing. It's gonna be a real small font.
Yeah, but
get engraving, kids.
It's a lot of mixed emotions, but you know, with the original stuff, at the end of the day, I still love it, and it keeps me going. And you know, for anybody listening that's feeling this way and struggling with the original stuff, just keep at it. I mean, you will have ups and downs, and it will be a grind. It will
Like
be
the
a
zipper.
struggle. Like the zipper. That Nokia phone will come out, and it will knock you in the head. But
you will lose teeth.
but at the end of the day, you can get off that ride, get some cotton candy, some funnel cake, whatever it is, and it makes it all better. And that's original music, folks. Thank you. Good night. Signing off.
Yeah, let's just roll the credits
Yeah.
at that point. I was going to say, you might not get the girl, but that phone's still going to work.
But you're
And
gonna
that's
get
good.
that funnel cake, babe.
You're going to get cavities and you have questionable carnage.
exactly.
But for Marcus, I mean, I was going to say, so you heard me and Will kind of bitch and complain, but there are some incredible positives to this too. I don't want it to be just a negative thing.
Yeah, doom and gloom.
No, we're going to get some little boom boom up in here now. We've played some awesome original gigs.
For
We've
sure.
played gigs. The one we did in Brooklyn was absolutely incredible. We did this gig. We originally thought it was going to be in front of a record executive. Long story short, yada, yada, yada. Things kind of change around. But we brought a bus of about 50 of our own fans to this gig. Technically Brooklyn, kind of Manhattan. I don't know. It was
Upper
New York.
East
New
Side.
York.
Yeah, I don't know.
There
New
was
York.
pizza. I don't know. It was a pretzel cart, whatever. And we packed this room. Not only was it our own people, but it was a lot of other people who never saw us before. And everyone was dancing. Everyone was jumping. We got this room going. And when we were done, because there was a couple bands on this bill, I think we had like a 45-minute set, something.
Yeah.
And we were done, and like everyone left. And we all kind of felt bad for the band after us, but I think it was a testament to kind of how much the room connected with us, which I think was great. And you know, having that feeling where it's like we have our fan base, our Mischief makers are like so dedicated to us, and they're super into what we do, and they're always following us wherever we play and listen to our music and engaging with us like that. And to you know, Marcus specifically, I don't know if you're writing music or whoever's writing music in this original band. It sounded like you were the band leader, I guess, in a sense, but to kind of, you know, to have the songs that you've written and to play gigs and have people follow you and then play and have people sing the words and sing along to you singing your own songs, that is the coolest feeling in the world. Like
Yeah.
it really honestly is. And that didn't happen overnight. And that might be the kind of a discouraging thing where you kind of hope for instant success or like an instant gratification. But I can tell you, and I know will tell you probably more eloquently in less words than I did, it does not happen. It does not happen overnight. It really, really doesn't, you know.
No.
The carnival's there for multiple nights, man. You got to hit it every night.
Yep.
You know.
Exactly. you just have to.
Go on the Tilt-A-Whirl for a change. Maybe that'll be good.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
It's a little better. But, I mean, so, like, if we're talking positivity, like, what are some of the really, really, like, just bananas original gigs that we've had? I mean, off the top of your head, can you think of any really cool ones we've had? Because I know we've had a whole bunch, and we always reminisce about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that one in New York always comes back around, and I always think about that, and that was one of those. I mean, I think for me at least, and probably I could speak for the band. I think everybody's everybody's playing was at its top level.
We had such a good crowd. I think it just really, the adrenaline just was spiked.
And that was it. I mean, the crowd, you feeding off the crowd is everything. The energy from the crowd is everything. I mean, if the crowd's not into it, guess what? You're probably not. You're not going to be into it.
No,
not
at all.
You're not going to be.
And it's such a good feeling though. Like it's so worth it. It's so like you get up there and you think of all the crap you had to go through to get to that point, and it's like, dude, this was so worth it. Like
And
it really, really was.
Exactly, like you said, the adrenaline starts going, and you're just so happy in that moment, and you just become a better player. You become a better musician, and you know that's what makes it all worth it in the end. Because it, as much as you know, like we talked about the ups and downs, but all it takes is a gig like that, and you're good for a while. And
raises everyone's spirits, most definitely.
And you just look back onto it. I'm trying to think of some of my other
Oh,
favorites.
I mean, I know one of my favorites was when I almost threw up in your drums. That gig was incredible. So we have near us in old New Jersey, if you can tell by my accent, that's where I'm from. We have this every year. It's called Art All Night, and it's this big 24-hour art exhibit thing, and they have bands and music. And literally, like, the spot to have is you want to get, like, the midnight spot. Like, that is the best one. We were slated, I think, for, like, 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
And there's 2 stages. There's an outdoor stage and an indoor stage. Well, I have horrible, like, anxiety, and it's, like, which, you know, it's hard to explain kind of how it works with stage and stuff and social things like that. But we, you know, we're setting up on stage. It's, you know, we're helping you put your drums up. You're working on your drums. I'm working on my amp. Look out in the crowd. And it's a big warehouse this thing is in. Like, it's a wireworks building. Like, it's this massive, and they convert it into this art gallery for, you know, 24 hours or whatever, or what have you. And there's maybe like 100-something people out in this crowd. Wasn't too bad. Our schedule got pushed because we were originally supposed to be like 10:30, 11, but of course everyone's running behind. So we ended up going on at around midnight. And it started raining outside, so the outdoor stage closed. They had to stop music from it. Everyone came inside, so I'm looking out, and there's like 100-something people. I go back down to working on my amp or whatever, and Will looks up at me and he goes, "Dude, holy shit, look at these people." And I look up. How many people do you think are in that room?
I mean, if I had to eyeball it, at least 1,500, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it was a sea
Between
of
that
people.
and 2,000. Big.
Yeah, it was just like shoulder to shoulder. Everyone is just watching us like get ready on stage, and I started dry heaving, having this anxiety attack. And Will at the time didn't know, because I was for a while very secret about my anxiety issues. And he's like, "Dude, you gonna throw up in my drums?" And I kind of laughed because it was pretty funny. I'm worried someone's gonna see me because it was, you know, it's horribly embarrassing.
Yeah, I thought he was playing with
pretty.
me.
No, I was really gonna throw up in your drums. Yeah, that new porthole in there, dude. I was going right for it. And we're getting ready, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm having problems. And on stage, our sax player, Chandler, stands right next to me, and he's like, "Dude, you fucking got this. Do it." And I was like, all right. And we get up, and we kick the song in. It was probably Ruled the World. We always kicked it. And everyone in that room was jumping and dancing and screaming.
That's
and
it
like,
right there.
That applause. We got done that first song, and I was like, and I remember leaning over to you and him, and I was like, I am feeling good. And it was just like, that was
Yeah,
it.
you're set
That
for the
gig
rest
was
of the
just-
night. Yep.
That gig was awesome. I think we played for an hour, and it was just like, holy crap. And I remember we did all our stuff, and we had one cover on that, and it was the Spice Girls, "Say You'll Be There," and everybody flipped out. Because at least if we cover stuff, it's nothing you ever hear bands do.
Yeah,
it's never
no.
anything that already has horns in it. It's always a song that I like or we like, and I'll just do an arrangement and write the horn parts myself, and I'll just be like, this is how we're doing it. This is how we're covering it in our style.
I like those
And
types of
people
covers, yeah.
it keeps everyone on their toes. You know, it's like, I love my Earth, Wind, and Fire and my Chicago and all that stuff, but I don't want to play it because so many people are going to just compare you to be like, oh, you didn't play like the record. And it's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're not Chicago. You know, we're not any of those guys.
It's like some of our favorites are like the Postmodern Jukebox guys and Scary Pockets. Like,
oh yeah, those guys are great.
They're putting such creative arrangements and styles on these songs that you don't even recognize them sometimes, and it's
no, and that is a
but it
true
works.
cover. Like that's
and
they're
they're putting their spin
You know,
on it and their original touches onto it, and I totally respect that, and we do that, and I love that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the artistry behind that and the amount of just musical genius to do things like that is just so
those guys are
incredible.
nuts. Yeah.
I love it. We love those guys.
Guys
though, 'cause
and gals.
That's like
Yeah.
that's fresh. You know, it's, and I'm always, when I'm seeing that, it's like, oh man, I can't wait for them to write something. You know, because that's the best part, where it's like,
'Cause you know
they're
they
gonna write
can.
something, and it's gonna, then it's gonna blow everybody out of the water. It's gonna be amazing. You know, and that I'm happy that we kind of bring it around full circle to that, where it's, you know, there is positivity in doing the original stuff, and it is worth it. It's just, you kind of have to hold out, and it's not going to happen overnight. Granted, there are cover bands I've seen, and they are fantastic. Do I favor it? No, not necessarily, because for me, as a musician and a writer, I'd much rather see people create as opposed to recite. That's just me.
Right.
but it does obviously take skill. And hey, those guys are out there gigging and making money, and I can't take that away from them at all.
No, not at
I have a
all.
lot of friends. I have a lot of friends who are in cover bands and tribute bands and things, and they're working hard and they work all the time and every night gigging somewhere.
Yeah, and they're enjoying it. They're making good money, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. But for myself, and I know you had said, for me, the writing, creating, and making something out of nothing.
That's
I don't know, maybe
music.
it's
That's
I would
art.
say maybe it's the Walt Disney in me who kind of has that outlook. But not that I would ever compare myself, because I'm not even a zit on a zit of Walt's ass. But, which you probably should get checked out at the doctor. But it's. Did you get a horrible picture just then? Was it old Walt Disney or young Walt Disney? What did
It
you
was
picture?
old. I just
So it was him probably like the Wonderful World of Color, where he's like, "Hello, everybody," and just drops his pants and he just has like a zit on his ass.
oh man, yeah.
Well, there goes that Disney endorsement. That's not going to happen now. Great.
Yeah, thanks.
It would have been like animated and everything. Oh, it would have been awesome. But no, I would say it's very, very. I don't think, to kind of come full circle, I don't think it's better playing in a cover band or an original band per se. I think it's how you perceive it or what you're trying to get out of it. If you're fine with, you want to just gig a ton and make money, dude, cover bands, you can go for
Do it.
By
Do
all
it.
means, you can be great. But if you want that creative freedom and you don't want to feel stale, like if you're a very creative person who writes, the cover band thing might not be for you. You need to create. You need to have that outlet to kind of just let everything out into. I always equate it to, it's like, you're a person who paints and all you essentially do is still lifes, where you have something and you're painting it. That takes a ton of skill. That is very impressive. But you're painting what you're seeing. You're not really creating from your head, essentially, like that. Obviously, it all takes skill because, God, like, any fine art like that is impressive. But it's just like a kind of a way to just differentiate between, the cover band and the original thing. So I would say, Marcus, and I think Will could attest to this, definitely stick with it. Don't ever...
hold on to that, man.
Yeah, don't stop because it feels, frustrating or, you feel like you're not being successful, because if you kind of look at the little things in there, you really can find that, oh, man, I did have some good successes and things like that. That's just me, though. I mean, God, our group's been together for quite some time, and we're still working our way up the ladder.
Yeah, it's a grind for sure.
It is, but as long as you kind of have the work ethic and the heart to go into, because you can't be in it and thinking, oh, it's going to be no work at all, I can just do it. And no, it is a full-time job. It's Will hits the no buzzer over there.
Or what's the Family Feud one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the X's. We have our X's across our chest right now. But I think that was a great question. I really liked
That's a
kind
really
of discussing
good
that.
question. That stumped us for a bit.
That did. We were kind of speechless in the beginning. I wasn't expecting that.
That's because we live it day to day. But
yeah, we were like, oh God, we're looking in a mirror right now.
Thanks,
we're always
Marcus.
questioning it. Thanks a lot, Marcus, for giving us this existential crisis. But I thought that was a great question. And if anyone out there has any questions they'd love for us to answer in a long format kind of a thing like this, you should probably go to www.charleslaurita.com/contact, and there's a little box you can fill out with all of your info and your question.
yes,
Will,
please do.
we're on Patreon. Did you know this?
We are?
We in fact are. And I was going to say, if any of our Mischief makers or anyone listening would like to help support the band and all of our endeavors, we have our Patreon is right on the homepage of our website, which is charleslaurita.com. It's a big, gaudy, ugly orange button
Yes.
with the P on it. Yes, it's big and disgusting and doesn't fit with the website theme at all. But hey, I wanted to make it stick out. But our Patreon is $1 a month, which is essentially less than that disgustingly watery Starbucks coffee that you order every single day. You need to be helping support the band because it is a lot of work that we do with our videos and our content that we're constantly putting out, and we put that. Any kind of funds that we get towards paying our players in our recordings and our videos and things like that. And we always love to credit our patrons in our videos and any of our projects that we put out online. So if you wanted to support us, we would love that. And if not, we still love you regardless because you're all
Yes, we do.
fantastic.
Beautiful people.
Oh my God, so gorgeous, so gorgeous. I'm just in awe. It's like looking at just art. I don't know. You make Mona Lisa look like just trash.
Just Lisa.
Just Lisa, just regular Lisa, and no one likes her. But in closing, my name is Charles Laurita.
And I'm Will Sarver.
And we want to thank you guys so much for listening to us beat off. This has been the Drop the Beat podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Take care.
See ya.